You know, that song always gives me the wanderlust.
Well, personally, it leaves me cold.
Exactly. Icebergs, northern seas.
Oh, don't tell me you're going to have another musical memory.
Sure I am.
Oh.
Look at little Willie over there. He's obeying the universal urge to fish.
Looks like he's got a bite.
Hey, where's he going?
Oh, Willie always wants to get as far as possible from that cod liver oil.
Well, if he ran far enough, he might find plenty of it. Suppose he had been along with the college boys who formed Commander Donald B. Macmillan's Arctic expedition when they headed the Bowdoin into the Belle Isle Straits. Wind and spray broke over the bow and sent all but the hardiest of our crew below decks.
I suppose that's you by the rail.
Well, the captain had called these the first iceberg waters, and all the crew made bets on being the first to see one.
Well, the lookout had the best of that bet.
Well, we made him keep one eye closed to even matters up. The first birds we saw were still shrouded in banks of Newfoundland fog and came upon us with little warning. The lookout now had his hands full. An iceberg is always closer than it looks, since it is 7 times larger under the water than it is on top.
Oh, but that's a beauty.
Some of the birds were magnificent castles of ice. In the older birds, the continual erosion of the salt water not only decreases their size, but gives them many strange and fanciful shapes.
That one looks like a man paddling a canoe.
A swan with outstretched wings.
That looks like a seal sitting on the ice. Isn't imagination wonderful? Oh, it was a seal.
And that one seems to be a huge mushroom. And here, a massive headland towers 1,000 feet above the sea. Halfway up, split by a fleecy cloud bank that sets a smoky haze dancing over its green skirts and giving it a name, Cape Smoky.
Oh, stop showing off your high school education.
Casting the sounding line for depth was one of the first steps in one of the most interesting but exacting jobs of the trip. Most of our cargo consisted of gasoline and oil to send our plane on a governmental mapping trip into the uncharted wastelands of the Labrador. We found this small bay ideally suited to our purpose and set about to establish a refueling base for the plane. Knowing that the entire success of his inland trip and perhaps his life depended on this base, Macmillan carefully supervised each step in the operation. Several planks laid across 2 of the ship's dories formed an ingenious water taxi and enabled us to carry 10 of the 100-gallon drums in a single trip. The Bowdoin, relieved of several cargo tons, popped up like a cork, and many raft loads of rock ballast were taken aboard to keep her on an even keel.
Well, why the neck veils? Were you afraid of getting sunburned?
Well, those nets were a very necessary protection against a swarm of mosquitoes who dropped in to see what we were doing and decided to stay for dinner. Even Macmillan showed that he could toss a mean rock as well as supervise the job and fell to with a hearty We found a clear freshwater spring and lost no time in refilling our water cask. A little gas and oil is applied to our own ship, and very soon we are ready to be underway.
Do you mind if I look over your shoulder while you work?
Not unless you're a mosquito. After radioing our position, Macmillan decided to remain at the base until the arrival of the pilot with the plane. It seemed lonesome on board without him, but our attention was soon caught by a cloud of seagulls, which assured us that we were near the fishing country.
There goes the plane.
It didn't take them long to overtake us, Now they're heading inland.
I wish we could be with them.
Well, that's easy. Here we are. Now that you can see this country, you will appreciate the reason for its lack of inhabitants. Although rich in natural resources, potential water power, the utter inaccessibility of this wild country has for centuries defied its commercial development by man. Add to this the fact that on the coast, fishing is an easy and profitable industry, and you will see why the entire population of Labrador is concentrated in the fishing villages that dot the harbor and small islands of the coast, leaving an inland country an unknown and untouched wilderness. The Baudouin has anchored in Ford's Harbor, a busy little village engaged in the industry of pulling in all the cod. The world-famous cod liver oil is made.
That looks like the painting on Aunt Effie's dining room wall.
The cod, now minus his liver, gets spread out on these huge racks to dry. Take a long last look, and thanks for coming along on this musical memory. We've seen another unusual corner of the world, and I only wish Willie had been here. If he knew where the cod liver oil came from, I'm sure he wouldn't mind taking it.
Not much.